Hello everyone. So Allure just announced their Best of Beauty Makeup and Skincare Awards for 2023. And I always go through all of the award winners to see if there are any products that might be appropriate that I haven't tried yet for my own mature and dry and sensitive skin. So I thought what I would do is put together a video discussing all of the makeup award winners. And I happen to have a lot of those products in my own makeup collection. So what I want to do for this is to put together 3 quick makeup looks using a bunch of the different award winners. And that way I thought it would give you a chance to see some of the products that I have really enjoyed using, but that I haven't featured very much on this channel. And then after I'm done with that, then I'm going to discuss all of the award winners and let you know which ones I think might be the best bets. So first, a little bit of information about me. I'm 59 years old and I have dry and sensitive skin. And over the past 2 years, I've tried more than 1,000 makeup and skincare products. I'm primarily looking for products that don't irritate my skin and that also allow me to create a really streamlined look in only 5 or 10 minutes. So those are the kinds of looks that I feature on this channel. So in the Allure Best of Beauty Awards, makeup products can win awards in a number of different categories. So these include base products, lip products, eye products, products that are appropriate for sensitive skin, so-called clean products, splurges, steals, and then also a couple of months ago, the winners of the Allure Readers Choice Awards were announced, and so some products won awards in that as well. So I'm going to be combining all of those categories into this video. So I recorded some footage of me putting on various makeup products yesterday, and so I'm going to be talking about each of the products that I am putting on while I show you the footage. So in the first look, I'm starting out with the Victoria Beckham Baby Blade Brow Pencil, and this product was introduced in 2023, and I have the shade Taupe, which probably is a little bit too dark for me. In general, I think this product is kind of well named because when I use this product, I feel like it does give me the look that my eyebrows are kind of on the microbladed side, so that it's kind of dark and kind of very filled in. Maybe it goes on really easily. But in any case, I'm not sure that I really like that look. It looks a little bit on the artificial side to me. I think that it does work a little bit better when I put eyebrow gel over the top of it. It also broke immediately upon the first use, so I'm not real crazy about that. And it's a little bit on the expensive side. And next I'm putting on one of my favorite foundations at this point. This is called the Makeup by Mario SurrealSkin Foundation, which was released in winter of 2023. And so I did a whole video on that, so you can go back and look at that if you're interested in it. I think that I really like this product because it gives my face kind of a plumped look. So there's a fair amount of coverage in this product, and it's a little bit thick and it's a little bit greasy, and I do feel like I need powder with it. But I feel like it's fairly similar to the Jones Road What the Foundation in that it gives my face kind of a plumped look. So as I've gotten older, my face has lost fat volume, and so you start to look a little bit more gaunt, and that increases the further along you get past age 50. And I think that this is one of the products that I do think really works well for me in terms of making me look a little bit younger. It does give fairly full coverage, but I think it looks pretty natural on my skin. I haven't found it to exacerbate my wrinkles. The main problem that I've had with this foundation is that I don't feel like there are enough shades, especially for lighter skin tones. So I have been mixing the shade 2N along with the shade 4C, and I feel like that's worked out fairly well for me, but then I had to buy 2 bottles of it, and then I have to have the 2 bottles around all the time if I'm going to use it. So I find that to be pretty annoying and hope that they would release some more shades, because that would make me really much more interested in using this product. Now, I do feel that I need to put on a powder when I wear that foundation, and the powder that I chose here is the Laura Mercier Translucent Loose Setting Powder Ultra Blur. So this is a new product that was released in 2023. So Laura Mercier, of course, is very well known for their older formula of translucent loose powder, but that product has several different parabens in it, including some that are considered to be really problematic, and that I always do avoid parabens because I feel like they're really bad for the microbiome on my face and are irritating. And it also has a loose talc in it, which conceivably you could breathe in, and if it were contaminated with asbestos, then that could be problematic. So I'm really glad that Laura Mercier released this new loose powder. I had not used their old loose powder very much because it irritated my skin a whole lot. This one seems to be pretty good. It might be a little bit irritating, but it's nothing substantial, and it's certainly much better than the old version. And I do like the way it looks, and it does seem to be getting good reviews from people that also liked the old powder. So I'm hoping that more people will start to use this new one. And now I'm putting on some tinted brow gel over that Victoria Beckham pencil. So I'm using the Kosas Tinted Brow Gel. That is not an award winner, or at least not this time, but it's really one of my very favorite brow gels. So next I'm putting on a little bit of cream eyeshadow. And this is a Reader's Choice Award in the Clean Beauty category from Beautycounter, and it is called the Lid Glow Cream Shadow, and it is in the shade Prism, which is kind of a slightly shimmery green color. I really kind of like this eyeshadow. I think it goes on really easily. I can blend it around with my finger. It only takes a few seconds. I don't think it looks patchy. I think that it's very attractive, but not very showy, which I think is a good thing. Next, I'm using a Reader's Choice Award winner, which is the Rare Beauty Soft Pinch Liquid Blush. I have this shade called Hope, which is supposed to be a nude mauve. I think that all of the Rare Beauty blushes tend to be quite bright, and this one is fairly pigmented, but I do think it looks nice on me. But many of these colors I think would not be wearable by me because they are so bright. And I really only need to use one little dot of this on my face in order to give myself as much color as I need. And then in some cases, I actually do need to put some powder on top of that. I think that one of the best things about these blushes is that they are very blendable. So even if I just put one dot on, I feel like I can really blend it out so that it looks really natural and that it doesn't look clumpy at all. So that's a really good thing about these blushes, and they also are fairly inexpensive compared to a lot of other Sephora type products. Now in terms of mascaras, there are a whole bunch of mascaras that won awards, and there's only one of those that I have tried. That one is the Ilia Limitless Lash Mascara, and I do feel like this one has been fine in terms of not being irritated to my eyes, and there certainly are many mascaras that are irritating. I feel like it's performed pretty well. It goes on pretty easily. I don't feel like there's a lot of smudging. I kind of prefer the Calorie mascara because it's a tubing mascara, but this one's actually, I really like it a lot, even in this little sample size that I have. And I do really like the fact that they have these small tubes that are only $13, because what I realized recently is that a Tower 28 mascara gave me an eye infection after I had only had it for 4 or 5 months. So now I have decided to stick with mascaras that have really clean ingredient lists and not too many harsh preservatives in them, but to try to switch out the mascaras every month or two. So that seems to be working much better for me, and I'm glad I can do it for a low cost with this particular product. Now the next product is the Summer Fridays Lip Butter Balm, which is pretty popular, I think. I feel like I really like the formula for it, but I don't feel like I really like the added flavors all that much. So it has vanillin in it, and then it has highly processed cinnamon, which is cinnamol, and eugenol, which is cloves. So it kind of has a birthday cake type of a flavor to it, but it's kind of tastes a little bit fake to me. So I'm not that crazy about that. It also has some BHT in it, and I'm not necessarily that crazy about that either, although I certainly don't think that rancid fats in products is a good thing either. But other than that, I do feel like this product is very soft and very moisturizing to my lips, and I feel good about it apart from the flavor. So if you don't mind that kind of vanillin flavor in your products, I think that this one might be a good one. I happened to try out the shade that's called Cherry, which is actually pretty bright, and I think that was probably a bit of a mistake, because when you have a product like this that's a little bit messy and then it's red, it tends to look a little bit messy on the lips. So I think that if I were going to do it over again, I would have chosen a different color. And then for a slightly brighter look, I decided to try out the Perez Coco Crayon. And this Coco Crayon won in 2022 and 2023, so apparently the people at Allure really like it. I have the bright red version of this one also. It's called Heart, and it's described as a pomegranate red, which is a little bit on the blue-red side. So I feel like when I put it on, it's very, very bright, and it's also, again, a little bit on the messy side, and that probably I would have been better off if I had chosen some other shade. But other than that, I think it's a very attractive product, and if I kind of smear it around a little bit with my finger, and then in this case I put on a little bit of that Summer Fridays Butter Balm stuff on top of it, I think that it created a somewhat okay look. I would be interested in trying this crayon in a different color, however. Perez is a clean beauty company from Australia, and I'd be interested in trying a few more products from this particular company, and those products are available on Credo. So let's move on to look number 2, and for each of these looks I am taking off the makeup with my beloved Lisa Eldridge cleanser, which I think does a much better job than anything that I've tried in terms of getting makeup off my face. I think that is well worth an award. So for this look, I'm going to start out just by putting on a little bit of MAC Prep Plus Prime, which is a product that I often use when I'm going to be using any kind of lipstick that is not very moisturizing. And then I'm going to put on a light skin tint foundation called the Rose Incorporated Skin Enhanced Luminous Tinted Serum. This is a Reader's Choice Award that was released in 2022 and that I have actually really liked. So this is a serum foundation, and if you look at it in the container, it's actually a clear serum with little balls of pigment in it. So it's similar to some products that are offered by Chanel and that also have been offered by Jane Iredale. And I feel like this is a product that has worked really well for me. I feel like it's a fairly moisturizing formula for my skin. My skin seems to like this product and not be irritated by it. And I like the finish that it puts on my skin. I feel like my skin looks a little bit prettier and smoother when I put this on, and a little bit more blurred without there being a lot of coverage. And this formula has 14 shades. I have shade 030, which is supposed to be for light skin tones with warm golden undertones. I don't know if this is the best match for me, but I think it's been fine. It's such a sheer formula that as long as I'm sort of within the ballpark, I think it's probably going to be okay. So I really do like this product a lot, and I've used it fairly often just sort of as a casual, everyday type foundation. And sometimes I have used other foundations over it as well, and I do think it makes a very nice primer. And then for my brows, I'm using a new product called Kosas Brow Pop Nano. Now, the Kosas Brow Pop pencil, the original one, is one of my favorite brow pencils. And this has been out for quite a while, and both of these products are made in Korea, but the original one was kind of halfway between a really skinny micro brow pencil and one of the triangular type pencils that some companies offer. So I feel like for me it was a very nice product. It goes on really smoothly. I feel like as brow pencils go, it gave a fairly natural look. And so I think it's really interesting that they felt motivated to create this teeny, teeny, tiny little brow pencil. So this brow pencil is actually much smaller than the micro brow pencils that other companies offer. It's almost kind of at the diameter of a little brow pen. So in theory, you could create little tiny strokes on your eyebrows. I haven't found that to be all that easy to do on my brows. I feel like the look that I'm getting from it is really not that much different than the look that I get from the regular Kosas pencil. And that's okay, except that I think that this one is, I'm using it up much, much more quickly from what I can tell, and so it's going to end up being a lot more expensive. So unless I really conclude that this is better than the original pencil, then I'm going to stick with the regular pencil going forward. But at least so far it hasn't broken on me, and it's performed fine for me, so I will continue to experiment with this and see how I do with it. And then it almost always is the case that with brow pencils, I end up with a look that I don't think is that natural looking, and therefore that I put some brow gel over the top of it, which takes the almost invisible hairs that I have on my brows and at least darkens them up to make it look like I have more of a natural brow. I also am using a little bit of the Westman Atelier Vital Skin Foundation Stick, which also won an award. And so this foundation stick doesn't have any silicones in it. It comes in 21 shades. shades. I have the shade Atelier 3, which is again called light medium with golden undertones. I think maybe it's a little bit too dark or a little bit too yellow, but as a product to use as a cover-up for small areas on my face, I think it's been okay for me. You could also use this more generously on your face if you had more to cover up, but I'm a little bit disinclined to do that. I think that if I'm going to do more coverage like that, I seem to do better with a liquid foundation, and with foundation sticks like this, I tend to use it more on a spot basis. The main issue with this is that I think that if I use it on the wrinkly areas on my face, that it does make the wrinkles look considerably worse. So especially if I'm talking about the crow's feet next to my eyes, I definitely want to keep this product away from that area. If I use it on other parts of my face, especially around my nose or just under my eyes where the wrinkles aren't as much, then I think that it's not too bad. Now, the next award winner that I have is the Rose Incorporated Satin and Shimmer Duet Eyeshadows. So this is a group of eyeshadows that have two different shades, and they're not really very expensive. And I have one of these in the green shade, and I think it's very pretty on my eyes. It did arrive very crushed. I ordered it through mail order from Sephora, so I haven't had a chance to try it as well as I would like, but I do think it looks pretty. The main issue that I have with this product is that it has an ingredient in it that I've rarely seen in anything else called glyceryl hydrogenated rosinate in it. That's an emulsifier, and EWG says that there's strong evidence that that can be irritating. I don't feel like it's been that irritating to my eyes. I have been able to wear it. I think it might have been a little bit irritating. So I don't see myself buying this again. Another issue with this product is that it has a 6-month usage life. Now, I suspect this is only because it is a powder formula that does not include talc, and that they're afraid that it's going to get hard and not as much fun to use. I kind of doubt it's going to go bad, but in general, I kind of don't think that I'm going to buy this product again. I do think it looks really attractive on my eyes, and I do really like the concept of having two coordinating shades that create a really pretty makeup look that's simple enough for me to use, but that does give some dimension to my eyes. And then as a blush for this look, I have the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Blush in Mood Exposure, which won a Reader's Choice Award. So I happen to have a mini size of the shade that won the Allure Award. This is called Mood Exposure, which is described as a soft plum blush fused with mood light to brighten the complexion. So I'm going to put this on and you can see what you think of it. So recently in the beauty community, there's been a lot of focus on the Hourglass blushes because Hourglass at the holiday season, they released these holiday palettes where there's 6 shades of powder and powder blush and highlighter and bronzer, and they come in these beautiful metal cases with this kind of gorgeous artwork. It appears to be gorgeous on the front, and I've been kind of interested in this myself because one of them has an owl on the cover, and I've really been a fan of owls ever since I was a little kid. However, when I look at the ingredient list for this, it includes a number of ingredients that I think are somewhat problematic. So these include Laureth 7, polyacrylamide, and benzoic acid. So I know Laureth 7 would exclude it from being stocked at Credo, and polyacrylamide is a product that is not allowed by Clean at Sephora. And as I will discuss later on, there's a Benefit Brow Gel that includes these ingredients as the ones that look like they're problematic that I found to be extremely irritating. So I feel like I do react to these particular ingredients, and so I don't feel especially comfortable with them, and EWG doesn't feel comfortable with them. So I think it's a little bit odd that this won a Clean Beauty Award from Allure. That kind of makes me feel like Allure is not really understanding what the concept of clean beauty is. When I use these blushes on my cheeks, I don't feel like they caused active problems. I wouldn't say that I felt great about using them, but I wouldn't say that they really caused irritation, at least in the few times that I've used them. But I'm still a little bit hesitant to go ahead and use them, and I also don't really feel like they're all that attractive. So you can tell me what you think in this video footage, but I'm just not that impressed with this formula so far. So one thing that people don't seem to bring up a lot is that Hourglass is owned by Unilever, And in general, product companies that are owned by really huge mega companies tend not to have really great ingredients as far as I have seen, and that seems to be the case with this as well. So it would be nice if I could see this product company cleaning up their ingredients a little bit more, at least to the point where all of their products are qualifying as clean at Sephora, and don't include fragrance also, please. And then for mascara, I'm using the Ilia mascara. And again, I think that this is a very nice formula that I don't mind using at all, especially in these mini products. And now I'm putting on some lipstick. So I am using the Pat McGrath Satin Allure lipstick in the shade Petalica. So for quite a while, Pat McGrath has offered matte trance lipsticks, which are very serious matte lipsticks. And I have liked those, but they do tend to be a little bit on the drying side. And then earlier in 2023, she offered these new satin lipsticks, which are giving sort of the same look as the matte lipsticks. I don't feel like they're really shiny looking, and they certainly are very highly pigmented, but they're a little bit easier going and they're a little bit more moisturizing. So in terms of the formula, I really, really like the formula for these, and especially if I put it on over that MAC Prep Plus Prime lip product, I think that they work really well for me, and they're very wearable, and I feel really good about them. Now, these have not been quite as popular as I would imagine based on the quality of the formula, but the main complaints that I have seen from people about these new satin lipsticks is that they don't really like the container for it. So even though it's in a kind of a cute container with a little bow on it, they're not as large of a container, and the plastic is not as heavy duty, so they don't feel as much like luxury makeup. But on the other hand, the price of the lipstick is a lot less, and they are giving you plenty of product in there as far as I can see. So I feel really good about this, and I bought a couple more of these lipsticks since then, but not everyone is crazy about them. So then I took off all the makeup again, and I'm starting over. And this time I will start again with the Kosas Nano Pencil, the really skinny new one. So I thought what I would do for this look is to put that particular brow pencil on one of my eyebrows, and then on the other one to use the older Kosas brow pencil, and to see if you think that you like one of these looks better than the other. And then after I put on these brow pencils, then I put on the brow gel on top of that. Now for this look, I'm going to use the Bare Minerals powder foundation, and for that I really like to use a primer underneath it. So I think that it works better with the primer in terms of it going on more smoothly, but I also think that it's just a little bit scratchy because it has so much titanium dioxide in it, and that causes just a little bit of irritation to my skin. So if I'm going to use that, then I do want to put a primer, a pretty good primer on underneath it. So while there were a couple of primers that won Best of Beauty awards, neither of those had ingredients that I find to be acceptable. So I thought that I would just use a primer that I have found to be particularly nice. And this is actually just called the Fashion Fair Fabulous Face Priming Serum. So Fashion Fair is a brand that goes back to the early 1970s, and it was founded by the Johnson Publishing Company because what they found is that the models that they were using for their fashion shows and in their magazines were not able to find foundations that were appropriate for their dark skin. So this was a line of products that was very popular during the 1970s and 1980s and maybe 1990s. But eventually the people that founded the company died, and by 2019, the company was headed towards bankruptcy, and the products had been out of stock for a long time. So it was purchased by a couple of women who are entrepreneurs who had a background in business, and one of them was the social secretary for the Obama White House. And so they put together a whole line of new products, and they are being really heavily promoted and helped by Sephora. And most of the products that they have reintroduced are way too dark for my own skin tone. But I did decide to find this primer, and I was really surprised how much I like this primer, really more than any other silicone-based type primer on the market. So it has some moisturizing ingredients in it that I think are really good for my skin. I think it gives a very nice blurring look to my skin. that I think makes it look really nice even if I'm not wearing any other makeup at all. And I think it provides a very nice base for products like this one from Bare Minerals. And it doesn't have any irritating ingredients in it as far as I'm concerned. So there's a video that I watched that's on HBO Max that's called The Beauty of Blackness that was actually more interesting than I thought. I thought that I already knew about the history of this company, but I still thought it was a very interesting documentary, and I do really like this primer. And now I'm using the Jones Road face pencils. I'm putting a little bit under my eyes. This is shade number 6, and I'm putting shade number 5 on the rest of my face. So this is just serving as a color corrector and a concealer. And then I'm going to put on a little bit of the Bare Minerals powder foundation. So this is called Bare Minerals Original Loose Powder Foundation SPF 15, and it won a Reader's Choice Award. So this is one of the first products that I tried a few years ago when I started to try to learn about what products might work for me. I think that this is a product with a pretty clean ingredient list in it. It doesn't irritate my skin per se. I think it more scratches my skin and therefore makes it a little bit more susceptible to other products that are irritating to it, and that it works a lot better for me with the primer. But surprisingly, even though it's a powder product, I don't feel like it exacerbates my wrinkles at all. I think it provides a very nice look to my skin, and it provides as much coverage as I would like to use. I'm using a kabuki brush with this. This is a brush that I purchased from Bare Minerals. So the way that you use this product is that you take some of this powder and you dump it into the cap, and then you swirl the kabuki brush around in this powder, and then you can use it on your face, and you can build it up to get a fair amount of coverage, or you can keep it really light. And I think that this does give some nice coverage and evening out of the color of my skin. So especially if my skin is looking a little bit red or a little bit uneven, I think it's actually much more pretty than you would anticipate. And I am using the color Light 08 in this. I'm not sure it's the right color for me. I think it might be a little bit more yellow than my skin tone, so maybe I could choose one that is better. But I think it's good enough, especially after I put a little bit of blush on. And I haven't used this product a lot, but I do think that for some people it might be one of the better options that are out there. And then for blush, I am using the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Matte Blush Wand. So this is similar to the Charlotte Tilbury Highliner wands, but it doesn't have any shimmer in it. This was introduced early in 2023. And I really like this formula. I feel like it's worked really well for my skin, and especially when I'm not wearing too much makeup or any foundation at all, or if I'm wearing a really light foundation like this one. I think it looks really natural. It blends in really easily. It's this particular shade that I have, the Pillow Talk shade, is kind of a muted beige shade. So if I'm looking for a almost no makeup type look, then this is a good one to choose, but they also offer a few more shades that are brighter that I may pick up. And I think that I really like this because it does dot on so easily and it blends really easily, and so far it's worked out really well for me. Now for eyeshadow here, this is an experiment. This is one of the first times that I have used this particular eyeshadow. This is called Amy Collet Lid Joy Liquid Matte Eyeshadow. So I feel like these are kind of similar to the Merit Solo Shadows that people have talked about so much, in terms that it gives a one shade look to the eyes that is kind of matte and kind of muted, but still on the pretty side. However, this is in a little tube with a wand rather than in a cream in a pot, and I think that it goes on faster than the Merit shades, and that it's a little bit more easygoing, and so therefore I feel pretty good about that. So this is a black-owned brand that is mostly designed for people of color. So they are offering 4 shades. So the first one is Harlem, which they describe as a versatile neutral, Bed-Stuy, which is a rich chocolate brown, Los Angeles, which is a pastel blue, and St. Louis, which is a deep mustard yellow. And I really do like the color of this mustard yellow one. I think that maybe it would be better with a different kind of makeup look, and that I should really think a little bit harder before just throwing it on my eyes. But in general, I really like that color. And I'm also really interested in that pastel blue color. I think that that could be really, really pretty. So like the Merit shadows, these do just have a 6-month usage life, so that makes me hesitant to buy more than one of them at a time. But I think that I will continue to experiment with this color for a while and then probably think about buying one of the other ones, like that blue one, because I do really like the formula. And then I'm also putting an eyeliner on. So this is the Colfi Underlined Kajal Clean Waterproof Longwear Eyeliner. So of the eyeliners that won awards, this is the only one that I think might be appropriate for me. All the other ones had problematic ingredients. So this company is stated as celebrating South Asia, but like most high-end eyeliners, this particular eyeliner is made in Germany. So there's one big eyeliner factory there, and they do make many different quality products. So I would say that this particular eyeliner company, that a lot of the formulas that they create, they're offering basically the same products through different companies. But in this case, it's a different formula than one that I have seen anywhere else. And it is a formula that doesn't include any silicone at all. So that's really unusual for an eyeliner. And fortunately, it also doesn't include any cottonseed oil, and that usually is something that usually irritates my eyes. So I was kind of interested in this product for a while, so I did pick it up a while back. And I've just been actually trying it out over the last couple of days since it won that award. I think it's not too bad. I think especially since it doesn't include any silicone, it goes on fairly nicely. I'm not sure it lasts as well as some of the other eyeliners that I have tried. And I also kind of like the fact that it's a twist-up pencil, so I don't actually have to sharpen it. And it does seem to have a fairly good point so that it's not putting too much product on my eyes, and it does smudge pretty well. So overall, I kind of like it. I think that it may be very, very slightly irritating. It's hard for me to find eyeliners that don't irritate my eyes because my eyes are so sensitive. The eyeliners that I have had the most success with are the ones from Caloret, Rowan, and Laura Mercier, and those are using really almost exactly the same formulas, and they're all made by this German company. So I probably will be sticking more with those, but I do kind of like this one, and I'm going to experiment with it a bit more. One thing I do especially like about this company is that they have some colors that I am not seeing in any other eyeliners from other companies. They obviously have black and brown, but they also have bright green, teal, blue, berry, and terracotta. And then for the Christmas season, they have a little holiday set that has one bronze eyeliner and one black eyeliner, which is $28. And then as before, I'm just using this Ilia Limitless Lash Mascara. And then for my lips, I'm using a product called Clinique Almost Lipstick in Black Honey. So this is an iconic product for Clinique. It was first introduced in 1989. I don't really remember using it back then, even though I used to buy Clinique back then. But a couple of years ago, it became a TikTok sensation and was rediscovered by young people who really thought that it was a great product and had it go out of stock many, many times. And I've had good luck with this product. I think it's very pretty on my lips. It's kind of a very sheer lipstick that is somewhat moisturizing and feels pretty good on my lips. Now, I did realize that you can get a shade called Pink Honey, which is available both on the Sephora site and on the Clinique site. And so I have really liked that also. And I see that for the holiday season, Sephora is offering a set of smaller versions of Black Honey and Pink Honey for $15. So that could be worth considering too. And then in this case, at least on camera, I feel that the Charlotte Tilbury blush is a little bit on the muted side and that the look could use a little bit more color. So I decided to put on a little bit of the Say Glow Sculpt Highlighting Blush. So this is a blush that is supposed to serve as a highlighter and as a blush. And it was introduced in, I think, spring of 2023. And there's a bunch of different shades, but I happen to have one that's particularly bright. That's a peach shade, and I think this might be a little bit too bright for me to want to wear it on a regular basis, but I do kind of like it, and I think it looks especially nice on camera. And now that I see that it won an award, I do like the formula for this. I think it goes on very nice, and I think it stays on very well throughout the day. So I'm a little bit tempted now to go to Sephora and try some more shades to see if there's any that might work out even better for me. So there are some products that I was able, again, to eliminate just based on the ingredient list. So there's some ingredients that I always avoid, and an awfully lot of products still have those ingredients in them, even though they're definitely considered to be problematic by pretty much everybody. So I put together some slides that show each of the products that I'm not going to be talking about and which ingredients they have in them. And then on these slides, the products that I will not be discussing because they include ingredients that I consider to be problematic, those are listed in regular type, and then the products that I think might be worth considering are in bold type. What you can see is that a single asterisk here means that Allure said that this was a product that was clean beauty, and a double asterisk is one that Allure says is appropriate for people who have sensitive skin. And RC means a Reader's Choice Award. And the products that I have already tried are listed at the top of the page, and then the other products are listed at the bottom. So for the foundations, I feel that Allure has done a pretty good job choosing good products and ones that I have really enjoyed and been impressed by. Now, another foundation that I have talked about in other videos is the House Lab Triclone Skin Tech Foundation. And this is a product that is made in Korea. It's a silicone-based foundation. This is Lady Gaga's company. It comes in 51 shades, and you can go to Sephora and try out all of the shades. I really like this foundation because I feel that it is very thin, it is very, very pretty, and I think that it's been a really good shade match for me, and that it's been actually, feels like it's been pretty good for my skin. So even though it has silicone in it, and I tend not to use silicone on a regular basis, I think that this one has worked out really well for me. Now, the downside for this one that I can see is that the shading descriptions are very, very confusing, because what they are doing is that they are suggesting that a warm color is a pink color and that a cool color is a yellow color. And so a lot of people are very, very confused by that and have a very hard time getting the right shade, especially if they don't go to the store. So what I would suggest is to just put aside some time to go to the store and to try this on, because I really do think it's worth it. And then about a month ago, I did a video on this Hourglass Veil Hydrating Skin Tint. And I think this is, as skin tints go, and especially skin tints that don't contain silicone, I think this has been really terrific. So even though I'm not really sure about all of the Hourglass products, I do really like this one. I think the ingredient list looks really good. It has 18 shades, it has sheer coverage, there's not any silicone in it, but I feel like it really performs like a silicone product in terms of how it looks on my skin and how it's worked for me. And that's actually what I put on today, and I think that in general my skin always looks pretty good when I put this on, so you can see what it looks like. But I did a whole video about it a couple of months ago, so you can look at that if you want. But in general, I don't think that this has emphasized my wrinkles at all. I do think it gives me a little bit of nice coverage, and especially that it improves the texture of my skin and the smoothness of it. So I think that that's very appealing. Now, another foundation that I have tried is the Fenty Pro Filter Soft Matte Foundation, which won a Reader's Choice Award. So this is a foundation that was really applauded because it came in so many different shades, and recently they expanded that shade range, so now there are 59 shades. I've been kind of hesitant to try it for quite a while because I knew that it was supposed to have quite heavy coverage and that it was supposed to be intended for oilier skin, but I did get a sample of it recently. What I realized after I got the sample and then I looked more closely at the ingredient list is that it does have fragrance in it, so that would have been disqualified from the foundations that I usually try on. Interestingly, this did have a fragrance that I found mildly objectionable, but I wore it for quite a while, and in one case actually sleeping in it for a while, and I don't feel like it was irritating to my skin at all, so that part was good. But in terms of the performance, I did find it to be rather odd. So the main thing that I noticed with this foundation is that when I put it even on my hand and then I tried to rinse my hand and get it off my hand, the water would bead up on the outside of where I put this foundation. So it's quite water resistant, if not totally waterproof. And they say that it has climate adaptive technology to fight heat, sweat, and shine. I also think that it does go on quite thick no matter what I do to try to put it on, and that it tends to look kind of on the cakey side. But the main issue that I had with it is that I found it really impossible to get off my skin entirely, and that my skin did continue to feel like the product was still on it no matter what I did to try to get it off, including using my Lisa Eldridge cleanser. What I tend to feel is that putting on a product that you can't get off of your skin that has silicone in it is kind of leading to problems, because what you will have then is dirt and oil and dead skin cells and bacteria and fungi and all kinds of stuff kind of being stuck on the skin underneath the foundation, and I don't think that's good for people's skin quality. But it certainly does offer a lot of coverage, so for people that have oilier skin or that regularly find that they're sweating a lot and that their foundation gets removed, I can see why they might like this one. And I can kind of see why someone like Rihanna, who is performing and sweating probably a lot, might like it as well, because it would hold up really well under those conditions, I think. And then the final product that I have here is Maybelline Superstay Hybrid Powder Foundation. Generally, it's very unusual for me to find a drugstore product that is okay for my skin, even if it has ingredients that I think would do not disqualify it. And so I'm a little bit suspicious about this one. I haven't had good luck with any Maybelline products so far, but I guess I would be willing to try it. If you've had good luck with it, then please let me know. So in terms of primers and setting sprays, all of these have problematic ingredients in them. In most cases, fragrance, but in the case of the e.l.f. one, it's propylene glycol, which is certainly irritating to my face and is very irritating for many other people as well. So the next category is concealers, and this is a category that's actually pretty important to me and that I use all the time. In a lot of cases, I actually just use concealer on my face and don't use any foundation at all. But usually I do use cream concealers because I feel that those work a lot better on my skin and that they don't emphasize my wrinkles very much most of the time. Whereas in the Allure Best of Beauty Awards, all of the concealers that they are mentioning, or at least the ones that would qualify in terms of the ingredients, these are all more of a liquid concealer, and those tend to work much less well for me. So of the concealers that won awards, I have tried this NARS concealer, and I just have a tiny little sample version of this one. This is apparently supposed to be very, very popular. NARS claims it's the best-selling concealer in the U.S. Now, this concealer is a somewhat older formula. It's not quite as problematic as many concealers or many makeup products on the market, but I don't feel like it's clean enough to use on my eyes. I do feel like it irritated my eyes a little bit when I did that, and it has some ingredients in it that are more problematic. So I don't see myself as purchasing this one, but I think that for people that are able to use liquid concealers and to do well with them, that it could be one to consider. There's certainly a very popular product. The second product that we have here is the Bare Minerals Complexion Rescue Brightening Concealer SPF 25. I tried a whole lot of Bare Minerals products when I was first looking into cleaner beauty products, and this one is one that I did not try. I did try the Complexion Rescue foundation, and I thought that that was okay compared to other tinted moisturizers with sunscreen in them, but I haven't tried this one yet. And then the next one is the Bobbi Brown Skin Full Cover Concealer. Now, this concealer does have a long list of ingredients in it that I would consider to be mildly problematic, but there's none that are a deal killer. So I would be willing to try this one. Maybe if I got a sample, I would try it. I'm kind of disinclined to actually buy it, though. And then the last one here that I'm a little bit surprised that I haven't tried yet, I thought that I had tried everything from Ilia, is the Ilia True Skin Serum Concealer, which was a Reader's Choice Award. But I realize I have a few samples of it, and so I think that one thing that I'm going to be doing over the next couple of weeks is giving a try with those samples to see if I actually want to buy a whole tube of the product. So the next category is powders, and I've been trying out a lot of powders, primarily ones that are talc-free as well as having good other ingredients in them. So as I said, one new product from Laura Mercier is that loose powder that's called the Ultra Blur. And the second product here is the Lawless Perfecting Powder Talc-Free Skin Smoothing Powder, which is a recent introduction. I think that was introduced maybe at the end of 2022. I actually did buy this during the last Sephora sale, and it arrived all smashed up. And so I was able to use it. I felt like it was kind of on the velvety side. It seemed really attractive. This comes in a whole bunch of different shades, 7 different shades. So I took it back to Sephora. But I think that there's some promise here with this product, so I would like to try it out more. And then there's the number 7 Flawless Finishing Loose Powder, which is something that you can buy at places like Target. This is a product that is a loose talc powder. So again, my concern, especially with a drugstore product, is that it might be contaminated with asbestos, and so therefore you wouldn't want it to be a loose product like that. And so I think that there's enough products on the market that don't have talc in them that we don't really need to be going for this one, as far as I'm concerned. So for the bronzers and contours, pretty much all of the products that they gave awards to contained either fragrances or other ingredients that I won't use. Most of these are also older formulas. The one product here that would meet my criteria in terms of ingredients is the Tower 28 Sculptino Contour, which was released, I think, in early 2023. I have tried that at the Sephora store, and I am, first of all, not a big fan of contour anyway. I feel like I have enough contouring on my face, and that most of the time when people are using contour, it gives them kind of a fake look that I'm not really that interested in duplicating. When I have tried that new Tower 28 product in the store at Sephora, I feel like the colors have not been very good for me. They haven't looked very natural, and it's quite stiff formula. And I think that if you're talking about blush and you want the blush color to stay in place for a while, then a stiff formula like that works pretty well. And for the contour, I feel like it's just been a lot of trouble for me to blend it, and that makes me not very interested in using it. Now for blush, it's not that hard to make a good blush without any of those problematic ingredients in it, and so I think that all of the blushes that they are recommending are ones that I would at least try. The next one is from Amy Collet again, who made those eyeshadows that I kind of liked, and this is called the Amy Collet Desert Date Cream Multi-Stick. And these blushes seem primarily designed for darker skin tones, and for me, I prefer a much more muted blush. So even though I think the ingredients for these look pretty good and I would be interested in them, I kind of feel like every time I buy a blush that's too bright for me that I end up fighting with it. So I have not actually purchased this one from Amy Collet, but I have every reason to believe that it's probably a very nice blush, and if you either have a darker skin tone yourself, or if you like a blush that's a little bit more bold, that this could be a really good line for you. So the next blush is the Armani Luminous Silk Glow Blush. Now Armani is a company that is owned by L'Oreal. This blush has talc in it, and I'm not totally opposed to trying out a blush that has talc in it. In this case, I would have to be really convinced that people were thinking that this was an outstanding blush in order to even try it, and so far I'm not that convinced, even though it won this award. And then the next product is called Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Blurring Balm Powder Flush. So this is from a fairly well-known makeup artist. One thing about these products is that I know is that they are made in China, and I don't feel like there's that great of regulation over products in China. And I have found some products from China that have ingredient lists that look like they should be really good, but that have really irritated the heck out of my eyes. It could be that the factory that Danessa Myricks is using in China is particularly good, but I'm not so sure this is the case because I've heard a lot of complaints and a lot of users submitting pictures of, for instance, her recent palette that looks like it has quality control problems. So all in all, I'm just a little bit hesitant about this brand because of that, but I have had very good luck with the skin tint that she released very recently, and I really should do a video on that. And then the next one is from a small independent brand, and it is called M Cosmetics Color Drop Serum Blush. It seems that M Cosmetics sort of specializes in blush. They don't have that many products in general, but they have, I think, 4 different kinds of blush. So I'm a little bit interested in trying at least a couple products from them to see if I like them. And this Color Drop Serum Blush could be one of them. Or if you bought anything from M Cosmetics and you have any recommendations for me, then please let me know. So next we have a couple of liquid highlighters, and I actually did a whole video a couple of months ago on liquid highlighters, and in which I reviewed both of these highlighters and a bunch of others. The first one that I have here is from Jones Road. This particular highlighter is a little bit less glowy than many of them that are on the market, and it is also a little bit more hydrating. So I kind of like the formula for this, and I do think it looks super pretty, but the unfortunate thing with this one is that it has a lot of essential oils in it, and that those can be kind of irritating. So if I wear this, especially if I wear it directly on my bare skin and I leave it on all day, my skin will definitely start to get irritated. And then this one from Rare Beauty. You know, the thing about Rare Beauty is that everything from them tends to be kind of on the dramatic looking. So their blushes tend to be highly pigmented, and their highlighters tend to be very shimmery. So this one has, I don't know if you can see in this light, but it seems to be much more metallic looking than I would prefer. And even when I mixed it with moisturizer and put it on my face, I still felt like I was getting kind of a Tin Man type of a vibe. So I haven't been really using that one at all. Now, Rare Beauty has another highlighter that is a powder highlighter called the Rare Beauty Positive Light Silky Touch Highlighter. This one tends to be very, very popular, and to the point that it's sold out an awfully lot. So I have not actually tried that, and I would kind of be interested in trying it. The ingredient lists look like they're probably okay. And then in terms of the brow products, I have very, very sparse brows. And so I really am only able to create what I consider to be a reasonable brow if I first use a pencil and then use a tinted brow gel on top of it. Pretty much all the other brow products that are out there are totally useless to use on my eyebrows as far as I have been able to find. The Benefit Cosmetics Gimme Brow Volumizing Eyebrow Gel, which was a Reader's Choice Award. I tried this very early on before I learned how to read an ingredient list, and I thought that in terms of giving me a good look, it performed really well. Not necessarily better than the Kosas one, but it did perform very well, but that it also felt quite toxic to me, so that it gave me sort of an aching feeling behind my eyebrows and gave me a bad taste in my mouth. Benefit also makes a Fluff Up Brow Wax, which has somewhat better ingredients, but I don't have any need for a product like that. The Live Tinted Hue Brow Clear Setting Gel, that's again kind of similar. And both of those products have Sterith 21 in it. That would disqualify them from being sold at Credo. And then the scariest product that I found on this whole list is, my goodness, it's kind of remarkable to me that this is on this list, is the Sephora Collection Shape and Set Clear Brow Gel. This one contains a chemical called glyoxal, which I had not heard of, but EWG gives it a 9, and they say glyoxal is an antimicrobial preservative that works by forming formaldehyde in cosmetic products. People exposed to such formaldehyde-releasing ingredients may develop a formaldehyde allergy or an allergy to the ingredient itself. In the U.S., approximately 20% of cosmetics and personal care products contain a formaldehyde releaser, and the frequency of contact allergy to those ingredients is much higher among Americans compared to studies in Europe. So I don't think that we want formaldehyde releasers in makeup products, and even if I didn't have sensitive skin, I wouldn't want that. Now the next category is eyeshadows, and then the next product is the Bobbi Brown Longwear Cream Shadow Stick. This is a product that I tried a number of times when I was just first learning about beauty products and clean beauty products. And I really do like the performance of these sticks, and I felt like they weren't irritating to my eyes. Eventually I learned that aluminum powder was an issue for me, and it does say on the ingredient list that aluminum powder is on the may contain list. And so what I did is I wrote to Bobbi Brown a number of times trying to get them to release information on which sticks had aluminum powder in them, and they would only tell me about a few sticks at a time. So eventually I got a list of the shadows that did not have aluminum powder in them, and they seemed to work okay for me, and I collected a few of them. But then they reformulated these products, and now I am not sure if the reformulation, if those sticks still do not contain aluminum, and I am a little bit reluctant to keep trying to harass them to get them to reveal more information about what their particular products have in them, even though they say they will do that if you ask. But what I have found is that the Laura Mercier sticks seem to perform pretty much exactly the same as the Bobbi Brown sticks, and they have a wide variety of colors. And for each of the colors, they list the specific ingredients in them, and virtually none of them, or maybe none of them now, contain any aluminum powder. So I have moved over to recommending and using those. But I still think these perform really well. And then there's a few other eyeshadows that I have not heard of before, but that I would be interested in trying. The first one is the Half Magic Chrome Addiction Eye Paint and Liner. These are super bright colors, so they look like what I might consider wearing if I was going to a fun festival. But other than that, I kind of am not sure I could make them work for me. But I do think the ingredients on these look okay. So if you're looking for bright eyeshadows, that these could be ones to give a try. The Maybelline Shadow Blocks Stacked Shadow Palette. I think that these are inspired by or copying the Kaja Eye Bentos, which I actually really do like. And I think that the ingredients in these look like they would be okay. I don't know where this Maybelline factory is, so I'm not sure if it would include ingredients that are actually problematic or contamination. But I would like to give this a try to see what they're like, because at least it's a product that seems like it might have potential. And then Nude Sticks is a brand that is listed as clean at Sephora. And I once purchased a kit from Nude Sticks, and one of the products was all dried up, and that kind of made me a little reluctant to purchase any more from them. But in terms of this eye color, the ingredients do look fine. And then the next category is eyeliners. Eyeliners is a very difficult category for me, and so the only one that I thought had any potential here was the Colfi one that I discussed before. Now, in terms of mascaras, very few of these mascaras that are listed here have ingredients in them that I consider to be especially problematic. However, my eyes are so sensitive, and I think this is the case for most people, that there are ingredients that might be okay in other products that are very, very problematic in mascaras. So personally, I am really looking for mascaras that don't have any suspicious ingredients in them if I'm going to try new ones, and then maybe they don't even work then. So of the mascaras, besides the Ilia one, I was a little bit interested in this Kea Twist Up Mascara, and I'm also a little bit interested in the Tude Beauty Tudescara. And then lipsticks and lip pencils. The other products here, Flower Beauty Plump Up Gloss Stick. This is from a brand incubator called Mesa, and Drew Barrymore is associated with the company and positioned as the founder. I don't actually know how much she has to do with the formulations, but I haven't tried anything at all from Flower Beauty, and maybe I should. If you've tried anything from them, let me know your experiences. There's another new brand called Gen C, and they have a product called Gen C Pick Me Up Matte Lipstick. I've heard some mixed things about this brand, and I'm not sure about how I feel about some of the ingredients on this list, including the barium sulfate, but I would like to eventually give them a try. And then here we have the Hourglass Phantom Volumizing Glossy Balm. They're $36. I think that's really expensive, but I'm still willing to try one. And then there's also a company called LYS Beauty, which is sold on both Credo and Clean at Sephora. And the product here that won the award is the Speak Love Smooth Glide Lip Liner Pencil. So I do want to try that one. And then for whatever reason, liquid lip products tend not to work for me nearly as often as lipstick type products. Kosas Wet Lip Oil Gloss. This one won a regular award, and it also won a Reader's Choice Award. I feel like this product really does not taste good to me at all. So it has things like sodium hyaluronate in it. It is moisturizing for my lips. I'm not saying that it's not good for my lips, and it looks okay, but I just don't like the taste of it. And I feel like there is some kind of an unpleasant laboratory-made chemical taste that is at the bottom of it, and then on the top of it they threw a whole bunch of different ingredients on it, natural ingredients but highly processed, and some vanillin, and I'm just not that crazy about putting this on at all. And then we have two more lip products that might be worth considering. The first one is from Beckham, which is a sister company to Bare Minerals, as well as Laura Mercier, and this one is the Beckham Plump Shot Collagen Infused Lip Serum. I think that this ingredient list looks okay. They're available at Ulta. I should take a look at their products there sometime. And then the last lip product here is the Fenty Gloss Balm Ice Cooling Lip Luminizer. This one contains a lot of preservatives, including BHT and phenoxyethanol. And it contains menthol, which is a little bit on the plumping side as well as the cooling side, and peppermint and limonene and linalool. But then in addition, it includes zinc chloride, and what it says is that zinc chloride induces a tightening or tingling sensation of the skin and helps to cleanse the skin or to prevent odor by destroying or inhibiting the growth of microorganisms. So if you buy a mouthwash that is supposed to kill germs, then you might have that in it. I don't really feel that great about the concept of products that are designed to kill germs on my mouth. I feel like that's the kind of thing that can be really irritating to my mouth because a lot of times it's killing off the good bacteria as well as the bad bacteria. So I'm kind of disinclined to try this one, but if you like it, let me know. So thank you very much for watching all the way to the end of the video. And as I said before, if there are any products that were award winners that you have tried, or if there are any products that were award winners that you would like to see me try, then please let me know about that in the comments. In addition, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, then it would be very helpful if you could do that. I would really, really appreciate it. And thank you very much for watching. Coco and I love you very much. Goodbye. La